We needed to find a business model that was cheap to start. And ultimately, the only thing you need in an agency model is some computers, a website, and then you're just making money via commissions. You don't need assets, you don't need big investments. So that was a practical way to start an entrepreneurial journey. The initial capital of the company was quite low, right? Around 60,000 Swiss francs. And then we were break even from the start, so that at any given month or quarter, if we didn't drive enough sales, we couldn't pay the salaries of everyone. And I mean, today our monthly salary cap is, I think, 400K or something. It's a lot of money. You need to find the clients to pay that. We want growth because it's fun. We want to do things at scale, etc. And with more growth, more risk, more pressure, 80% of what you're doing in a day is completely irrelevant. You're ticking boxes, and the 20% of your actions are really what are, driving the vast majority of your business. Our vision at SimplyJet is we smile, we care, and we get it done.
Yann-Guillaume, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, it's my pleasure.
Maybe I want to start to know, how does a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company plays video games? How do you manage that in your life?
Yeah, well, a few different things is, one, I've always been kind of a geek since I was maybe 8 or 9, a bit the introverted kid in the class. And I think I just never really stopped video gaming. And I'm quite lucky because my girlfriend, she's an early going to bed and early waking up kind of lady. So my me time is between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. And I have, 2 hours every night to play video games, basically.
And today you're well ranked in this game, the game. And I checked there is some championship soon and qualification in Switzerland to be part of a Swiss team, or
well, I mean, exactly? I play a lot of different games, but it's some of the classics, RTS, Age of Empires, everybody know, or some MOBA like Dota, very famous. But yeah, my favorite game is called Magic, and it is actually a fantasy card game that you can play both physically and online. And we have kind of a Swiss system where we rank players based on how much they play and their win rate and whatever, and there I'm pretty decent. Yeah. And actually, quite funny story. I met one of my co-founders, our financial director, playing that game at school.
That's very interesting. Sometimes small things can become big things, right?
That's true.
10 years later, you a bit more, right? 13 years later from graduating. Yeah. Can you bring me back to you before graduating? You founded quite rapidly this company that you're running right now. Yeah. So maybe before graduating, did you know that you wanted to go in this industry, to work in this industry?
Not at all. So the story about how our company came about is a succession of very random events, so to speak. It all started with one of my co-founders, Matt. He found before me his second internship while in school. I didn't even started applying for a position, and the company that hired him was looking for a second intern. And he told me, "Hey, Jan, do you want to just join me at this company?" And we were already pretty good friends back then. And I said, "Yeah, sure." It turned out that this company was active in the field of private aviation. I kind of liked that sector. And in our final year, both him, my CFO, now CFO, and myself, we thought, all right, we are good friends. We don't really want to work for anyone. Let's try to build a business together. And then we all kind of went our own ways. I went to the UK. I worked for a year, once again, in a private aviation company. Both of them took teaching positions, and the goal was just to put a little bit of money aside, waiting for, the company to happen, really. And we were having regular Skype exchanges where we would build the foundations of a business plan. And then I moved back to Lausanne. We started having weekly kebab dinners. So there was a little kebab shop in Lausanne We would go there every week. The guy would serve us like mint tea, and we were drawing on big pieces of paper how our website would look like. And one day we just like jumped ship and started the business. We like invested 20,000 Swiss francs each, I believe, which we saved up before. And that was just enough to buy 3 desks and create the website.
When you explain it like that, it seems very simple. But if I put myself in your shoes, you're 23 years old, and you say I'm going to launch to start a company in private aviation.
Yeah.
That's quite a niche sector to begin with. I mean, at 23 years old, there is many other companies that are maybe easier to start.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the credibility? I mean, you're speaking with high net worth people, customer, people that have seen a lot in the world, manage often a big amount of money, companies.
I think it's about being genuine. It's very funny because this morning around 7:20, I actually had one of our very long-term clients. He started flying with us in 2017. He just gave me a ring to like ask how I was doing, and we started talking about his boat, and the guy is probably worth several hundreds of millions. And I think we kind of had no choice. We created this company. We were young, so no family obligations, no children to take care of. We were all living at our parents' place. We didn't really need any money, so we had that tiny office, 3 desks. We were picking up the phone every single day, all day long, call people around Europe and say, hey, we are young guys in the market. We came from EHL. We have a sense for luxury services. Why don't you try and rent a jet with us? And it kind of worked. I don't know how else to present it.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I think that's fascinating. But you started, so people were paying you and you were renting the jet?
Yeah, exactly. So it's really an agency model, kind of
broker.
Yeah, like you have a real estate broker or a financial service broker. We just are a private jet charter broker, basically. And what's good is you said it's a niche and maybe there are easier business models. Well, we had no money. We don't come from wealth. We don't have wealthy parents or anything. So we needed to find a business model that was cheap to start. And ultimately, the only thing you need in an agency model is some computers, a website, and then you're just like making money via commissions. You don't need assets. You don't need big investments. So that was a practical way to start an entrepreneurial journey.
Was it? You said you started with cold calling.
Yeah.
How is it when? I mean, probably you received a lot of no's. No.
It's very rough. Frankly speaking, I didn't like it too much. You need to overcome fear of rejection, of course, because you have people telling you all day long, I'm not interested. Who are you? We already have a supplier. I never fly private jets or whatever. And we actually had a kind of a game to motivate ourselves where we had a small piggy bank, and we had a KPI that we decided between the 3 of us. I think we had to do 20 cold calls a day as a bare minimum. And whenever one of us would not achieve that, we would put 1 Swiss franc in the little piggy bank. We found some tricks to keep the game going. Yeah.
It worked. That's amazing. You told me that in any case in your life, you're someone that really you always want to create, you always want to undertake projects. Would you attribute that to something that happened in your life, or would you think you're born with the entrepreneur mindset, or you develop it through time? So we'll speak about SimplyJet maybe a bit later, but maybe you have other project in your life that you're doing right now with this idea of always creating something?
It's a good question. I think when I was younger, up until before I joined EHL, actually, the only thing I wanted to do before joining EHL was work in the hotel industry. I was fascinated by that. I thought the idea of traveling around the world, being in luxury hotels or fine food, I found that fascinating. And I initially joined EHL to be in that sector. And after 6 months, I realized this is insane. These people work crazy hours. The pay is not good. That's not going to happen. And then rather than thinking I'm going to move into other industries, I just naturally evolved into I'm going to try and do my own thing. I'm not too much of a people's person at heart. There are lots of individuals I struggle to connect with on a deep level, or there are just some people I just don't want to talk to. And I think the idea of I will not have somebody to answer to, or I don't need to evaluate the cleverness or the level of decision making of my N+1. I'm just gonna be the N+1. It's a bit almost an avoidance method. I don't want to work with people, so I'm gonna work for me
by default.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Have you other projects than SimplyJet in your life today?
Business-wise, not really. I actually launched a duo of electronic music with one of my co-founders. We have maybe 10 or 12 songs on Spotify, and we did a few gigs in the past 2 years. But frankly, right now it's full on SimplyJet mode. We don't have so much time on our hands, but probably I want to resume doing some music at some point. I also play in an electro pop band, the guitar and the bass. Last year I was in a jazz band, so yeah.
What instrument do you play?
Mostly guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Acoustic and electric.
Yeah.
Very nice. And what's the name of the Spotify?
It's called Mojave, like the dessert.
Right. Very nice. And then throughout the last 10 years, you built SimplyJet.
Yeah.
We spoke about the cold calling. We spoke about the offices at the beginning. So that's really the start.
Yeah.
How do you go on continuing building this company? What's the? You told me you wanted to share the practical step.
Yeah.
No bullshit.
Yeah, of course. So I think the first key, or in my mind, the first key element of success to build a startup is to have the right founding team. I always say to everyone, first thing I say when they ask me, Jan, how did you do it? I tell them I was not alone. I have the utmost amount of respect for entrepreneurs that start a business alone, because you need such a complete skill set to make that happen that, it's very unlikely. So we had a good founding team with complementary skills and personalities, the three of us. And very soon we realized that even with the three of us, we were missing skills. So the first two key additions to the company were a marketing director that became a partner right from the start, because the guy was good in digital advertising and we didn't really know much about that. That was key. And our first employee, who is today our commercial director, she's an excellent salesperson, and we were not so good in sales. So immediately we said, we like marketing, we hire a marketing guy. We like sales, we hire a sales lady. And then we sort of slowly built up on top of that. So quality and nature of skills of your founding team, very key.
That's very interesting. How do you choose the people? How did you choose the people you started with? Because it was your best friends, right?
So my two, hard to say. Today, I consider them as my best friends, of course. But back then, we were friends plus, or like my friends from uni. How did I choose them? It's hard. I think during our studies, we casually mentioned a few times, hey, we could do something together, because we had that likeness of spirit of we don't want to work for somebody, we want to work for ourselves. And then as time went by, the conversation went from casual talks, we are just laughing about it, to let's build an Excel sheet. And how would it look like? How much money do we need to incorporate a company in Switzerland? How much money do we need to do an alpha version of our website? What will be the major struggles we're going to face doing cold calling and being serious in the market, etc. So then we start plugging stuff in an Excel. And one day, I think I remember, I believe it was Matt who initiated that. I'm still in London. He gives me a call and he's like, Jan, I have an opportunity to work there. Today, you need to kind of tell me, are we doing it or not? And I said, oh, let's go. and then we decided, okay, we actually going to do it. And then you really start these funny sessions where what's going to be the name of our company, what's the color of our logo, and all these very concrete things that you need to decide early on.
What was the vision at the beginning? Was the vision what SimplyJet is today, or you had other plans?
Actually, I think we, maybe by luck, nailed down early on our vision and our brand positioning, and it never really changed. So our philosophy today, our vision at SimplyJet is we smile, we care, and we get it done. And I'm just going to briefly explain that. So we smile. Our goal is that every single team member, when they deliver the service to our clients, they do it with a smile because they like it. They like service, they like providing a beautiful travel experience. And the we care is not only do they like doing it, but they genuinely care about the happiness and the satisfaction of the customer. And this is the EHL part, in a way. And then the we get it done, this is the operational part. We also have the technical, the aviation knowledge to deliver that product. This is today's vision. And when we started, it was bringing finest hospitality to private aviation. That was our motto from, I think, week 1 or something. And, the connection is clear between these two things. So our goal was really, we're going to do private aviation the Swiss hospitality way.
Okay. And that's today what stand you out from the market?
I think so. I mean, obviously, there are a number of actors in Switzerland active in private aviation, but we probably took that to a level where it's a strong brand image, and we have, customers in Singapore, in Dallas, in Jeddah that are using us, a Swiss company, instead of a local broker, because they associate with us, this image of it's Swiss, it's reliable, it's, I'm almost going to say neutral. Things are going to flow naturally. We kind of piggybacked, frankly, speaking on this great image that our country has in other industries, such as watchmaking. I'm like, okay, we are great at selling very expensive watches because of the image of the country. We're going to do the same in private aviation.
When you were explaining, you said crafting beautiful experiences. Mm-hmm. Can you linger on that a bit and be more specific? Give some real examples that you can find in the jet if I book a flight from Geneva to London.
Yeah, of course. So first and foremost, I think it's important to realize that traveling is actually quite an intimate experience. You are in an aircraft that is not, a Swiss Lufthansa or British Airways aircraft. So it's you're flying a company you do not really know. You're there with your partner, you're there with your pets, your children, and you are entrusting like your safety or your lives almost to this company. So it starts really with, we are gonna make sure our clients feel safe and taken care of on board. That's the baseline. And then it's about, okay, what's the nature of the trip? Is it business? If it's business, we may be gonna tell the crew, interact as little as possible with the passengers because they want to get work done. Here is the selection of newspapers they might be interested in. It's a 6 a.m. flight going from London to New York to make an M&A deal happen. Let's have the Times the Financial Times in there. Let's have this and that. Maybe it's, a family trip to Disneyland. So we're going to inflate Mickey Mouse balloons on board and the kids are going to love it. Maybe it's a stag do and we're going to have, crates and crates of fresh beers on board. It's very much about understanding why your customers are flying on any given mission. And every mission is different. We are doing a helicopter flight in Sri Lanka. We are doing, we had one customer, he flew to the northernmost airport in the world in Svalbard Island, and a month after in the southernmost airport in the world in Ushuaia, because, and we were building a story around that because that's actually really cool.
Do you think people come back to you because of the experience they have?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not only, it's also a matter of we deliver a service that is on time, reliable, the value proposition is there. So some of them, they just book because it works. And some others, they really book because we give it that little extra. Yeah.
You talk every day with people that are in this world of money and wealth. Do you have some takes from, since 10 years now you have talked with those people? Do you have some learnings that you have, or some life advice that you had from those people that...
Interestingly, I would say that the vast majority of our clients are self-made. And in Switzerland, it's fine, but there are some countries in Europe, typically France, I'm not afraid to mention them, where wealth is heavily criticized. And in society, you have to maybe hide your wealth, or there is this maybe misunderstanding or common opinion that if you are wealthy, necessarily you took that money from other people that deserved it most or something. I think that's a bit damaging. We have so many clients, they have amazing companies, they create thousands of jobs, they built up industries by themselves, they are giving back to their hometown, they are just driving communities. And so many of them are like super nice and down to earth. We have a client. You cannot imagine how poor his background was and how rough the first 30 years in his life was. Now he's worth several billions and he's just so chill. Dresses up normally, drives a shit car, just has one very key passion that he went full on into. And it's just so interesting because he's like you and I. He just has wealth, but that he's still a human being. He's not profiting from the system. He's paying his taxes in France. God knows it's expensive. So I think my key takeaway is just, if you start going in a wealth trajectory, ignore the noise, just do whatever you want to do. And yeah.
Maybe that's interesting. I don't know how you feel that it is in Switzerland, but say there is a big clash of culture between France and for example, the US. I think in France, they almost forget the journey to get until the position you have money, and then of course they are quickly criticized because I think you mentioned it, and I think it's very interesting. There is this idea he stole money from the common good, and I would say in the US it's much more people. Everyone understands, okay, but this person made sacrifices. Yeah. He went alone. He built this, and he's creating values. I'm not sure how Switzerland is in these two worlds.
I think we are probably ideally in between. I would probably, or my personal vision is that the US is maybe a bit too extreme. It's a country that you have a lot of inequalities, of wealth inequalities in the US, a poor social system, large arrays of the population that struggle to access basic health services. That's obviously an issue. And then France is the complete opposite. I think Switzerland, kind of like a few successful, from an economic standpoint, Nordic countries, we managed to drive the right balance between recognizing the importance and the reason of why you have companies and individuals that are wealthy but contribute a lot to the economy while still giving back a healthy amount, of their profits or whatever. So I like it. I love how Switzerland is managing entrepreneurship in general. And we also have a big impact on small companies. Actually, I think 85% of the jobs in Switzerland are provided by small and medium-sized companies. And that's actually really nice.
Absolutely. I think it makes for diversity and yeah. We don't speak a lot about money, but we respect the people that succeeded. Coming back to building SimplyJet, you are this team of 4, you told me, at the beginning.
So three initial founders, and after a year and a half, 4th partner.
Right. Yeah. How long does that last, the 4 of you?
In what sense?
In building the company. So I'm trying to go back step by step.
Yeah,
how did you do to
get
from 0 to 40 million?
Yeah, I'll tell you. So At first, the three founders, we had an 18 months period where this is really, you lay the foundations structurally of your company. Okay, we need to have a website. We need to have contracts. We need to have a network of suppliers. We need to have the first few clients that allow us to pay the rent. Basic. And this base can really take, I don't know, arbitrarily long depending on your business, maybe 6 months, maybe 4 years, I don't know. In that phase, we were not paying ourselves anything. I believe after 8 months, we could pay ourselves $500 each per month or something. Then we had the marketing director join us. We, on top of that structure, started, doing real advertising, so to speak. And then we had the first salesperson that really scaled up the cold calling effort, if you will. And then after we had that basis, the foundations, the marketing, the sales, we started trialing growth. How did we do that? The cheapest way, interns. So we started having rotation of 2-3 interns simply because we could not afford anything else. And we were with them establishing basic processes. Can we create processes where someone that does not know anything about private aviation becomes a successful private aviation broker? And we did that for about 1.5 years, 2 years. It worked. We realized we had a way of teaching these young people how to become professionals. And then we took kind of a gamble and started hiring a few people. And then we had COVID. So we were, I think, the moment COVID hit, about 15 persons, 15 team members in the company, or 12, I cannot really remember exactly. Everything stopped.
So that's in 2021. We are in 2021.
Yeah, 2020-ish. Okay. And it was impossible or not allowed to travel anymore in a lot of countries in the world. Everybody was confined. We had to entirely stop our activities, setting aside a few repatriation flights that the government would allow us to do. And we took, again, kind of a gamble. Frankly, we could have gone bankrupt. At every moment between 2016 and mid-2022, on a quarterly basis, we could have gone bankrupt because we were so tight on our cash flow management and so aggressive on what we were doing. Right after COVID, we said, we hope there's going to be a big travel rebound and people will want to catch up for all the experiences they did not have being confined and everything. And I believe we doubled our team size somewhere in 2022, right after all the confinement rules were over, and it worked. But yeah, you gamble. It was really a flip a coin kind of thing and see what happens.
So from 2016 to 2022, every quarter, there was a risk of going bankrupt?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, the initial capital of the company was quite low, right? Around 60,000 Swiss francs. And then we were break-even from the start, but break-even, we were not really generating any particular profit. In between, I think in late 2019, we had 2 minority shareholders join us. They just input a bit of capital in the business, but also we were mostly looking to gain their experience. There are 2 people that have entrepreneurial spirits. They invest in a few companies and they were quite valuable, from 2019 up until now, but their capital injection was, at the end of the day, still quite small, and it made it so that at any given month or quarter, if we didn't drive enough sales, we couldn't pay the salaries of everyone. And I mean, today our monthly salary cap is, I think, 400K or something. Maybe in 2022 it was 2 or 250. Well, it's a lot of money. You need to find the clients to pay that.
But that's the thing. How do you, when you live with this pressure on you for quite so many years, how do you cope with the pressure of? I mean, at the end of the day, there are people that needs to eat, and there is also the of course your baby, your project that of course you don't want him to die. How do you cope with the pressure?
I think you get used to it in a sense. I remember that, and this only changed about, I would say, 2 years ago, maybe. Yeah, 2 years ago. Up until then, we always were constant pressure, constant pressure. We don't know whether we're gonna succeed. We want growth because it's fun. Ultimately, why do we want to grow the business? Because it's fun. We want to do things at scale, etc. And with more growth, more risk, more pressure, and yeah, we had some nights. Shit, can we pay everyone? Did we make the right decisions? We hired 5 people too many or whatever. And then you get used to it and you just accept it as this is the past, this is what we've chosen to do. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Ultimately, you only have so much control, and we don't want to waste mental space anymore on things we don't really control. We make a decision. When it's done, we live with it.
You said it's fun.
Yeah.
Do you have a calling for that, or do you have a higher purpose, or you're just doing it because you have fun?
Yeah, I think we have fun, and we just like building. One example I always like to take is we had to decide when we launched the business what CRM we would use. You could go to a lot of our competitors use big names like Salesforce, things like that. So you outsource the technology, then you have some consultants that build up your CRM according to your needs. I think right from the start we said no, we're going to create our own from scratch, which is crazy. It's crazy to create a CRM from scratch. It makes no sense.
Exist. Yeah,
it actually, thanks to them, there is here. Happy to give the shout out a company in Lausanne called Cruncher. 2 great guys, and they were, frankly, I think they kind of liked us, and they were super helpful, and they didn't charge us too much for the initial version of our CRM. We had to do a lot of designing ourselves to get the price down. So as I said, we gave them stacks of paper. Here is what you should code and how it should look. So we used them for, I believe, 2 to 3 years. And then we took this decision of outsourcing everything to India. And at first it was contracted, and then we bought a company in India. So we own a company in India where we have a team of developers that work 100% for us because it's more fun. We just wanted to build our own CRM and do exactly what we want.
So tailor-made.
Yeah, tailor-made instead of relying on something external. It's way more difficult, takes more time, and it's only going to be cost-effective. Well, it's starting to be cost-effective decision today, but it definitely wasn't 3 or 4 years ago. And I think it comes down to, we like to create, we like to build. And if you are stagnating, if you're just stable in your business, I guess you can get easily in a sort of routine where you just let your business live as it is, which is fine for probably a lot of people and a lot of businesses, but that's not really our philosophy. We like to keep stacking stuff on top of the existing company.
Yes, and there is this very interesting concept. I heard it from he's an Australian entrepreneur. There is a business performance business. That means that you build every time you and there is a lifestyle business where, as you said, you would just let this company grow and benefits from what it brings. And so you're more in this performance mindset of
100%. I have some friends who have lifestyle businesses, and their sole goal, which is fine, I completely respect that, was I'm going to take a few years, build up a company to a state where I don't need to do anything in it anymore, and it's going to make me, I don't know, anywhere between 200K and $1.5 million per year. And then I'm just chilling. Fine, great for them. But I don't think that's really interesting. We are more on, let's keep pushing up until the moment we don't feel like there's anything left we personally can do. Because maybe one day we will just hit our limits and we won't be the best persons anymore, or we will need more funds or more partners. I don't know.
The best person, what do you mean by that? For the company or?
Yeah, I mean, typically today I feel like I'm a pretty capable CEO leading a company that is doing 40-ish million Swiss francs per year. But will I be the good CEO if one day we make 150 or 200? I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no.
So you think the skill to be a CEO is different, are different, linked to the size of the company?
I think ultimately, yes. The larger you become, the more different you need to structure your company. I think I'm happy to talk about this. One element that was very difficult for us with SimplyJet is the first few years, everybody knew each other on a very deep level. Every team member knew other team members, their families, their hobbies, what are they like, what's their personality, etc. It was very closely knit.
Like a family.
Yeah, exactly. We still have a great atmosphere in-house, of course, and a lot of fun. But once again, utmost respect for the companies that manage to keep this family spirit while growing a lot. Because when you grow, you need processes. There are a few things you need to have rules. You need to have a clear performance metrics. Who earns how much on what basis? How are HR issues handled, etc. And as you do that and you scale your company, you just cannot dedicate so much time as you did a few years ago on an individual level. And as this happens, naturally, you need to change your management style. And whereas 4 or 5 years ago, I knew everyone personally. If anyone had an issue, I could take care of it and get into the meat of it. Now it's maybe intermediate management that will do that. And maybe in 5 years, today I'm handling the issues of intermediate management. Maybe in 5 years, there is another level in between. Or I don't know, I'm only doing representation, traveling around the world and talking on podcasts. I don't know. I think you need to change your management style as your company grows. Otherwise, you're going to run into some issues.
It's interesting. It's very interesting. And you were talking with this fact of being a family at the beginning. But working with people that you know, it can be challenging because how do you work with a friend, this friend messed up or didn't do what he was supposed to do? Or how do you manage this part of the relationship, I'd say, or even you to receive feedbacks? Because it's friends, so it's always harder to.
Yeah, it's an excellent question, and frankly, I think we've been extremely lucky in that regards because Patrick and Mathieu, in full, my two co-founders and myself, in these 10 years of working together, we literally never shouted at each other a single time. Not a single time. We, of course, had some constructive debates or criticism. Okay, you did this in this way. You maybe could have consulted with us before and there was a better avenue for the business, etc. But there just never was an issue. And I don't have a recipe for it. I wish I would. I think we were mostly lucky. It probably comes down to you need to separate slightly your personalities. There is my friend Patrick, where we hang out after work, have a beer, play video games together, or whatever. And then there is Patrick, my CFO and partner, where we are sitting in his office and reviewing the budget and arguing about it. And one is purely personal, the other is professional, and you draw a bit of a line and you hope it works.
So you differentiate the two. You create two, let's say, persona between private and business. And
to some extent, not entirely, but to some extent you have to, otherwise it just doesn't work. Yeah.
When you say there is this differentiation, can you also? Of course, it's hard to say. Okay, how did it get to get along so well for 10 years? Mm-hmm. But if you would describe the relationship that you have, maybe we can understand. Okay, but what's the maybe, I don't know. The obvious thing would be respect, communication. Yeah. But if you describe your relationship with Patrick that you have today, mm-hmm. how this relationship looks like?
Well, he's one of my best friends, so it looks like a relationship with a best friend. We're gonna his wife. His wife and my girlfriend, they know each other super well. We have, I don't know, dinner together, events, whatever. We share a lot of the same hobbies. At work, of course, we also have personal conversations whenever we can find the time for them. And yeah, he's a guy, I don't know, it's a Monday morning. We haven't seen each other for the weekend. I come in the office and we kind of high five each other because that's how friends are, right? And you can maintain that while working together for 10 years, I believe. But I know I'm really struggling to answer that question because as a general principle, I would probably say do not build a business with your friends.
That's the common knowledge. That's why I'm trying to dig a bit.
I probably have the same opinion today, so that's why I go kind of back to luck. Maybe one key element I would say is do not build a business with a good friends if it's only two of you, because then a lot of conversation points will be confrontational, one opinion versus the other, and you're gonna get stuck in non-decision making limbo. And we were three. And I think often two of the partners have, or now we are more, but two of the initial founders had an opinion, the third one, a different one, and then we would just, okay, the majority wins. And if you're alone versus two opinions, you're like, oh, well, if the two of them think like that, probably it's the right thing to do or the right decision to make. So I will just simplify it as is. You can do a business with friends, not if you're only two.
I think it's a very good, I can really understand that. And because it dilutes, right, the main, if there is some challenge and everything. With Patrick, for example, outside of when you see outside of work, do you speak a lot about work, or do you have some rules to? Okay, today we don't speak about work. We speak.
We don't have rules, but usually when we see each other outside of work, and that is true for Patrick and me, and Matt and me, and also Gaetan, our other partner, is if there are other people around, we're really gonna try and limit how much we talk about work. We already talk about work every day in the office. We'd rather just chill and talk about other topics. You cannot, inevitably, we're gonna have some small conversations about work, but we try to avoid them.
If we go back to SimplyJet today, what it looks like, what's the services? Because of course you evoluted from just broker. What do you offer as a service today?
So, well, today the company looks like a team of 45 team members. We have still our headquarters here in Lausanne. We have an office in Zurich, one in Paris, one in London, and we have our development team in New Delhi and Mumbai. And we offer, you can rent a private jet through us for a single flight. You can buy a JACCARD from us, like 25 hours, where you deposit an amount, and then we debit your card as you fly. We can help you buy or sell your aircraft. At the moment, we have selling mandates on two planes. So we are selling an aircraft on behalf of a French company. We are selling an aircraft on behalf of a wealthy private individual. You can, we do helicopter rides. We do some auxiliary services such as helicopter trips, ground transfers, hotel reservations. It's really the whole luxury travel universe, mostly aviation focused, but if the client asks for it, we deliver.
It made me think about something I read. I think in one interview you said that, I don't know if it's still the case today, but at the beginning you were almost a conciergerie service because you were doing everything.
Yeah.
We spoke about the hospitality, the experience for clients. Would you say would you say it's the always say yes to a customer, this conciergerie where they ask you maybe something that is not in your business, in your core business, but you say, okay, I'm going to do the effort to show you that we're involved in what we do.
So we have a very good question. We have an extremely clear line. Usually we say, if we have the know-how in-house to deliver what the client wants and it will be a good experience, we'll do it ourselves. If we know in our network somebody we can vouch for, we know their service is excellent, we're going to make the recommendation. Typically, if you want to charter a yacht, we could do it ourselves, but usually we recommend. There are excellent yacht charter brokers out there, so we recommend them. And then sometimes we are being asked for things where we do not know anyone in our network, we cannot vouch for them. And it's extremely important for us to tell the client, we do not know about this. And there is nobody we would want you to go to that we have recommended and we didn't really know whether the service was going to be good. So then we just openly tell them, I think you should run your own researches here because we cannot be of help. That's quite rare, but it happens.
Where do you find the people that wants to buy a jet?
On the internet? No,
On LinkedIn?
Yeah, you can. A very funny story. We have actually some clients that we prospected on LinkedIn, but one of them, extremely nice guy, he's been with us now for 9 years. I initially prospected him on LinkedIn and hey, I looked at your profile. I would imagine this is a service that you could need. And we started the relationship like that. It's not, sure, some wealthy individuals are a bit behind the scene, hidden, removed from the public world, but a lot of them are just, people like you and I, once again, that you can approach. And some of them are completely open to chatting with you as long as you're bringing them value.
And so we come back to what you were saying at the beginning, to stay authentic and to stay simple yourself.
Super important. If you need to, and this is true not just for me, but for my whole team, I always tell them, I don't want you to masquerade over the phone or in a face-to-face meeting as somebody you're not. If you are a huge fan of, what do I know, contemporary art and a new metal music, tell that to your clients and go find clients that share these passions with you and build a relationship with them. And this works so well. I have, a car enthusiast in my team. He has a lot of clients who are car enthusiasts and they talk about the same thing. I have a guy that is very big into fashion, so he's going to talk fashion with his clients. And it just makes it so much nicer for both the client and the service provider to work authentically and share conversations and have a coffee or a tea around the topic they both like, rather than like what you see on Wolf of Wall Street bullshit, like Hollywood stage salespeople. That's really not us. I don't doubt you can build a company like that, but not us.
So you would say you connect with your clients through passions?
Yeah, I mean, not all of them. Some of our clients obviously are extremely busy and they just want to be straight to the point, something reliable. That's perfectly fine. But most of our best clients, we have developed relationships beyond just the transaction. And usually that would evolve around conversations on shared interests, logically, or passions.
What's the future for SimplyJet? Where do you want to bring the boat at?
Or the plane.
The plane.
I think we want to obviously keep growing. To use a financial term, our compounded annual growth rate since 2016 is around 35-40%. And we want to keep doing that. Of course, the bigger you are, the harder it gets to maintain that 30% growth rate. But yeah, it goes back to the fun. We want to keep increasing the size, the reach, the amount of services the company offers up until the moment we won't know what to do anymore. But I think we have a lot of runway still in front of us before that happens.
I know a lot of people that works at SimplyJet are EHL alumni. You take interns as well?
So not anymore. And the reason for that is because an internship only lasts 6 months. And to deliver our service, you need two core elements. A is excellent customer-facing skills and problem-solving skills, which a lot of interns from EHL, but also other schools have or may have. But the problem is you need a lot of aviation experience as well. You need to know by heart your aircraft models. What specific plane do you pick if a client is flying with 8 passengers, 4 dogs of these breeds and weights from Southampton to Marrakesh? And that takes quite a long time to teach. And if you're doing a 6 months internship, you will become competent more or less only at the very end of that internship. So it's a bit difficult for us to manage. We might resume taking interns. We have for 7 or 8 years, but now we stopped for a bit and maybe we're going to start again.
And people that just graduate, they can join or?
Yeah, definitely. We have a lot of team members in the sales department whose first job is with us. Yeah.
What do you look for someone that just end up EHL? Yeah. What's the thing you would say, okay, but you're a student in EHL, you have maybe 6 months, 1 year left. Yeah. You should really train those to be successful. I mean, in your industry, of course, but if you speak about sales, it could be in many other industries, right? But let's speak about SimplyJet.
Sure. So it's aviation, so it's 24/7. That's the first element. You need to be ready to pick up a call at 3 a.m. because your best client from Hong Kong needs a flight urgently on his time zone. It's, 9 or 10 in the morning. He's already awakened and he needs something. So you need to wake up and, actually help him. That's one first element. You need to have a very good read, not on what clients tell you they want, but on what they actually need, because these two things can be very different. Particularly true for infrequent flyers. They do not know really what is possible, not possible, the aircraft types, what makes sense, and they will ask you something, and your recommendation should actually be, oh no, you shouldn't take a jet. There is a closer airport than the one you asked for. We're actually going to be doing that with a helicopter ride. It's going to be more efficient and cheaper. Or no, this country you want to fly to, you didn't realize that in your passengers list, you have people of such and such nationalities. We won't have the time to clear the visas. And this really comes with time and, understanding what works and what doesn't work.
Yes, so this you learn throughout the time you are working.
Yeah.
It's the knowledge that you would learn from experience.
Exactly. It's problem solving. I think we really need people that have good problem solving thing and on the ground decision making ability.
So that's something you can train at THL. Let's say you train problem solving.
Yeah. Basically, we need doers and not thinkers. Sometimes we have interviews with candidates and they come and during the interview they tell us, oh yeah, I'm going to be working in sales at SimplyJet and here is my big plan to prospect all these companies and here is market research and I think we should do that and the marketing budget should be this and that. And no, you just need to pick up your phone and call and actually try and help people.
That's very interesting. I think we all do that when we want to start something. You strategize, you think, you try to find the best solution, the best business plan to do it. But I think all of that, or what is said, is that all of that, it prevents you from actually doing the thing. And as we spoke, facing the rejection, facing the no's, and it's really those barriers that you build mentally that protects you from actually going into it. How would you say you just do? But when you're caught in those barriers in your head, what's your go-to to actually remove? Or do you still have this for your level?
Yes, of course. I think we always all have that. I love this topic. Execution really just trumps everything. since we now have a fairly successful company, we have often people coming to us and asking for advice on whether they should launch a business project or not, or what are the key lessons we learned building SimplyJet, etc. And so often you have would-be entrepreneurs that spend countless hours and days and weeks on the little fine details that don't matter at all. How this button should be on my website, and I cannot start selling my product because it's lacking one feature, or I don't have a network. I'm going to start doing network first, and once I know X many hundreds of people in this industry, I will launch myself into it. And that's, you're never going to launch a business like that. You just need to take baby steps, simple actions every day that actually generate sales, clients, interest. And to go back to your question, I do have that issue still as of today, where I'm sitting at my desk, I'm doing a task, an action, and I take a step back, I make myself a coffee, and I ask myself the question, is this relevant to the business? Will it drive revenue? Will it drive growth? Or am I just ticking boxes? And there are so many things we are doing where we are just ticking boxes. I'm going to say that it's dumb, but this Pareto rule, it just works so well. 80% of what you're doing in your day is completely irrelevant. You're ticking boxes, and the 20% of your actions are really what are, driving the vast majority of your business. So that would be a good tip. Ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now relevant to the creation or the future growth of my business?
Is what I'm doing right now the 20% of what will bring the results?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I think we're reaching the end. Yann, it was such a pleasure. So
Likewise.
Interesting to have this conversation. I really hope the success is bright for SimplyJet, but I have no doubt about it. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. It was a good time.
Dear listeners, my name is Elliot. I'm an EHL student, and my goal is to share with you the stories of our alumni so that you can get inspired. Stay tuned. Many episodes are coming, and see you soon.